Welcome. I am so excited to talk to you about motivation and applying motivation to change and specifically to communication for change with yourself, with another person, and with others collectively. I see a lot of missed opportunities where motivation could really support changes that are wanting to be made by the individual, by partnerships, or by a group. So, my name is Carla Caldwell. My background is in nursing and health coaching, and I very much have invested a lot of time in communication. So, motivation, super powerful for changing personally and when it comes to supporting others to change and changing in partnership. So, I am going to define motivation. When I say the word motivation, what I am referring to is what matters most to you. What matters most to you is your motivation. So, first, when it comes to yourself, knowing what matters most to you is absolutely critical. And I find so often that most people approach change just from like, okay, I'm going to change this and I'm just going to do, and there's not a lot of thought put into it. And you could tweak that and increase your success by a lot if you just think about what matters most to me and connect it to the change you are wanting to make. So, for example, if you are wanting to do something for your health, like let's say exercise, and you've been finding it challenging to follow through, I want to encourage you to get really clear on what matters most to you. What is it that gets you out of bed? What matters more to you than anything else in the world? And connect it to that health change that you've been trying to make. How will making that health change, we mentioned, for example, it's exercise. If you're to follow through on that exercise, how will it support what matters most to you? And you can do this with any change you're trying to make. If you're having trouble with a financial goal, like for example, saving, connect the saving to what matters most. How does it support what matters most? Number two, let's look at when you're wanting to support someone else. Now, the mistake I often see when someone is trying to help someone else change, it's just that, the helping and fixing. Their change is not likely to happen unless the person who is wanting to change, their motivation needs to be at the table. So when you are wanting to support someone else to change, ask yourself, whose motivation is driving this? Is it mine? If that's the case, it needs to be the other person because they're the ones wanting to make this change. So their motivation is critical. If you are very serious about supporting someone else to change, then I encourage you to ask them, what matters most to you? And ask the person, how does this change connect to what matters most to you? If you change in this area, how will it support what matters most? Very important for the person you're supporting to change that they make that connection, that the change, how it relates to what matters most to them. So now let's talk about, we discussed if the change is happening for you, it's important for you to know what motivates you and connecting that to the change. If you're wanting to support someone else, it's very important that their motivation be front and center and that it's connected with the change. Now, what if you are trying to change with someone? So, for example, if you are married or you have a partner or it's your family or maybe it's at work, it's a colleague. or a business partner. If you both are working on a change together and you're running into barriers, I want to ask you the following. Are you both aware of what motivates you? So are you both clear on what matters most to you? And have you both collectively discussed how this change will benefit what matters most to you? So if my husband and I are trying to change the way we're eating and we're struggling, then it's really important that I know what matters most to me, which is my family and legacy. And what matters most to my husband happens to be very similar. It's family. How do both of those, how are they affected if we change our eating? So if we've been struggling with eating more vegetables, for example, then we both need to have a conversation collectively about how eating vegetables is going to help what matters most to both of us. It's a simple concept, but I find it's often neglected. So I want to really impress upon you that when you are seeking to change personally, to support someone else to change, or to change in partnership, it's critical that you know what motivates you. What is motivating the person seeking the change? And how does that relate to the change you are wanting to make? So important that that be crystal clear. Because what starts to happen, your motivation, it's the fuel. It's the fuel that will support you to make the change, to actually act, to move from idea to action. I invite you to take this on a test drive. So be on the lookout. Anytime you identify that there's a change that either you're trying to make or you're trying to help someone else make, and if you're running into barriers, I invite you to remember this concept, to ask yourself, what matters most to me? And how does it connect to this change I want to make? If I make this change, how will it benefit what matters most to me? And I think you'll find that your success increases, your outcomes improve when you connect what motivates you to the change you're trying to make. All right, I'm rooting for your success. And I thank you so much. Please help me reach more people by sharing this video out with your friends and family and colleagues. Thank you again and have a great day. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments or message me. I'm happy to answer them. Have a great day.